Hello world from Berlin, Germany, in the heart of Europe. This is Europe's cheapest electric car. Is it really good? And what are the trade-offs? Let's find out. Yes, and who exactly is the Dacia SPRING for? Well, one must clearly state that most people buy it out of a sheer sense of value for money, and in that respect, I think the car fits in quite well. So Dacia has really put a considerable amount of thought into how to balance things out effectively so that we can appeal to as broad an audience as possible without needing to omit too many valuable features. So it doesn't end up being an uninteresting car. The range is officially stated at 225 kilometers according to WLTP. One must know this is a combined figure from summer, winter, city, and highway driving, kind of an average value. Realistically, you get a range of 250 kilometers in the city during summer, and even in winter, still 160 kilometers in the city. Why do I mention the city now? It's simply a car for the city and surrounding areas, not a long-distance vehicle. I'll get to that in a moment. But I find the range with an average of 37 kilometers driven per day can last for several days and then recharges again. That leads us to recharging. Now let's do the door test quickly. Sounds significantly juicier than the old version. The trunk really still produces the very best sound, doesn't it? Now, let me just open up the front trunk and the charging port right over here. It's a front loader, meaning I charge up front here. Now let's step inside for a moment. You have to manually raise it. We noticed that with the previous version as well. There is a significant amount of space available here, and Dacia has actively addressed the issue, now providing an optional Frank insert here for an additional extra charge. By the way, the entire topic, I've really worked on it quite a bit. What's the price? We really have it after. So where does it bump and noticeably bang, just like the hood? No, but where do we really land in terms of price realistically with the different equipment options in comparison? What about accessory costs? It's covered at the video's end where we'll explore the configurator and I'll give vital information. And there are a few things you absolutely need to pay attention to, so stay tuned or jump ahead using the chapter marker. So, now we're going to focus on this charging flap right here in the front. And you've got Type 2 here, as with every electric car, but also optionally as an add-on. Praise the CCS capability. Type 2 charges only single phase at 3.7 kWh. However, since there's actually a relatively small battery inside, the car is overall light, efficient, making it also economical. That makes it interesting because I can also just use the outlet to charge the car, and it's essentially the same speed. So yeah, I basically have to charge it with a Type 2 cable for about approximately 8 hours overnight using a Schuko, meaning simply a standard household electrical outlet. It might just take a little bit longer, maybe around 10 hours, 12 hours, but I'll say this, it really should be fully charged by the morning. As mentioned earlier, CCS fast charging is available at 30 kWh for when I really need to go on a significantly long drive. I can, of course, do that. It's just not super comfortable. On the highway, of course, the range takes a significant hit. But then it's probably roughly about 55 minutes or so, from 10 to 80%. Well, okay, one could do that, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. And usually, the car is utilized both within the city and the surrounding regions. An exceptionally cool and innovative extra, which you'd normally anticipate in higher-end automobiles, is the V2L technology. Now, what exactly does that mean, you might wonder? That means I can just attach an adapter right here, like this. Yes, now it's starting to turn green. And what do I have here? Ta-da, I've got a socket. Yes, indeed. And given the fact that I have exactly 25 kilowatt hours of usable battery capacity right here with me, it's almost like I've practically got myself a significantly huge mobile power bank with me wherever I happen to go. The trunk is absolutely solid at 308 liters. It's even bigger than the trunk of an Opel Corsa, just for comparison. To be completely honest, inside the ancient Dacia SPRING model, I didn't feel all that comfortable. I know it's affordable, but it still felt a bit cheap to me. I truly enjoy the freshly redesigned interior a lot. And now let me show you the exquisite view from the driver's seat, please. Here I have the new steering wheel. It's made of plastic, but feels good. Here I have real buttons, and with them I can control all sorts of things. For example, right here. You can see it right here in the truly beautiful, large, and also bright driver's display. And of course, the absolute highlight is the 10-inch display in the center console. It's really nice and large. And yes, the software is very simple to use. There's also regular route planning, no charging planning, but that's not too bad because I have here Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and not just wired, but now also wirelessly. This means I can simply connect my phone right here at the USB-C port, place it down over there, for instance, and then use my smartphone applications right here, which naturally includes planning the charging with all the bells and whistles. I think the whole feel is significantly better. Everything just feels much better, even with the elements. I'm actually surprised. I think this is better than one would expect for such a price range. These buttons, along with these knobs, they feel really good. They're even illuminated right here. You can even see which level is set here, but also up here in the display, it all responds very quickly. And also here, the ability to raise and lower the window controls, or indeed to adjust anything and everything here surrounding the air conditioning, is really quite good, feels good. And overall, the seats, I certainly do find them to be upgraded once again. Also, the whole appearance here has just become prettier once again and feels better. And here they've come up with such an interesting system. It's called U-Clip, and then there are these little knobs here, and then I can attach elements like this to it. I also have a cup holder here, and on the side, a light like this. But there's also a knob right here. We'll take a closer look at that in the configurator shortly. And I would definitely say, well, anyone who really gets quite creative, perhaps utilizing a 3D printer, can surely come up with a number of remarkably cool things to significantly enhance their car on a budget. The seat is absolutely solid, but just as with the previous one, it's not adjustable in height at all, which is a drawback. This means I can adjust the backrest and of course move it forward and backward, but I can't adjust it in height. The issue with the old Dacia Spring, however, was that I couldn't adjust the steering wheel's height either, but now, at last, that's possible. That means, thankfully, I can now easily adjust the steering wheel, so even if the seat height isn't fully adjustable, at least I can now find a somewhat comfortable seating position through adjusting the steering wheel. And to be honest, it's quite good for giants just like my cameraman Max, stationed here, standing tall at exactly 2 meters. Let's put it to the test right away. Max, please sit next to me and let's see if we're still shoulder to shoulder. So now you see it, by the way. We're filming with such cool equipment here, but now just quickly with the phone. So I am sitting like this. What about you? Yes, I'm comfy too. Look, winter was different since we both wore winter coats as well. Okay, we were quite close to each other then, but like this. But it's not really the cuddle factor anymore, is it? Yeah. Are you sad you can't snuggle up close anymore? The back seat is really not at all suitable for taller individuals if there are equally tall people already seated in the front. So, as you can clearly see, essentially, you're now getting massage seats for the driver as a completely free addition. But yes, I've adjusted the seat for myself now, 6 feet 2 inches in the front, then maybe shorter people or children sit in the back actually fits quite well too. In the back, there are even ISOFIX connections on both outer seats, meaning just put the child seat in and it fits well. But beyond that, I really don't have anything here. No storage compartments, no. Center armrest, no connections, nothing at all. So yeah, that's just the way things are, you know. By the way, this particular rear seat can, of course, be easily folded down to make the trunk significantly bigger. But it's not like a third, 2/3, but rather the whole rear seat gets folded down at once. So we're back to the point. Savings must be made to achieve a low price. Yes, and that is exactly the perfect cue, because as I've already informed you, you won't realistically end up at $16,900 in the end, but still at a very good, solid value for the price. Now let's dive into the configurator, where I'll give you some important tips on what to look out for, and also share a recommendation on which version I think you should choose. And after that, we'll wrap it up with a nice conclusion.
There are 4 different versions of the Dacia Spring: Essential, Expression and Extreme. All versions have the same battery size, so like the same range, that's good, but I can really not suggest to go with the Essential Edition because it has no air conditioning at all. It's just like a ventilation. It has no touchscreen, only a smartphone holder, which I will show you right now, no CCS fast charging option and no vehicle to load. So let's configure this car. Also, you get just 2 different color options. The other versions have much more color options. And here you see it's just like the outlet for the cable for the outlet charging available, which we want to add for €250. And then you see how the dashboard looks. It's no screen, just a place for your smartphone. Yes, there is an app and you can connect the app and your smartphone with the car, and it's kind of okay for like getting a cheaper price, but I can really not suggest this version. I would go for a minimum configuration with the Expression version. 45 is actually the horsepower, 45. There you will get the manual air condition, you get much more color options, and here you see the different color options. Of course, they are also can come with a price, but that's okay. With the Techno package available. So there's the 10-inch touchscreen included, the rear view camera, additional USB-C port, and that's good. So let's add this one and this one again. And so I would say the minimum configuration is available for 19,000 euro. It's a nice price. But the Extreme Edition is even a better deal and the best deal available when it comes to the comparison to the different versions. So let's go to the Extreme. It's like a funny name, but there's everything included, like the Techno package is inside. There's 65 horsepowers. The CCS charging port, fast charging port option is available here for 600 euro. Yeah, you have to pay it additionally, but it's the only version where it is available, this option. And you also have like the front parking assist available in this option exclusively. And of course we want to have the cable. Then you get electric rear windows, you get electric rear view mirrors, and of course the vehicle to load adapter for using the car as a mobile power bank is also included. And then the price will be 20,900 euro.
So, who is the Dacia Spring really aimed at? For most individuals purchasing it, it marks their very first electric vehicle. In other words, it's the perfect entry into electric mobility, especially for those who aren't entirely sure yet. Because now I don't need to start installing wall boxes or anything like that at home. I can just plug it into the socket. It offers an incredibly good value for money. The best currently on the market when it comes to electric cars. And it's simply a solid, super interesting vehicle. So I can only tell everyone, I also know from Dacia, it's often used as a second car as well. Maybe as a primary car for long distances, for vacations, you still have a gas-powered one at home. And think, okay, let's get this as a second car and give it a try. And I am quite sure that it is going to excite many people for the future of electric mobility. And then the primary car becomes fully electric from now on. I wish you all lots of fun with the car, absolutely recommend a test drive, and we'll see each other very soon again. See you then.